Hi, my name is Treyton Skaff, and this is my project on climate change as a social problem. So to highlight climate change has become a massive social problem over the years in a couple different ways. Mainly, it's a political social problem. So 30 years ago, when scientists found a big hole in the ozone, that started the whole movement on climate change and global warming. And since then, all the countries have not been able to come together and find a viable solution that everybody agrees with. So, to continue highlighting climate change, the United Nations states 5 ways that climate change crisis impacts human society, and those ways they list are: climate change intensifies competition over land and water, it affects food production and drives up hunger, it forces people to move, it increases poverty and inequalities, and it changes security risks for women and girls. My solution to solve climate change is carbon taxing. I think if all the countries of the world came together and set a carbon tax and measured how much carbon each of their big businesses or even the small ones too produce, they could charge them for that. So that would give companies much more incentive to become more eco-friendly and reduce their carbon emissions. Some more detail and support for policy suggestion is: carbon taxing has been used in many countries such as Sweden, Canada, France, Japan, Singapore, and many other European countries. These countries have simply made carbon activities more expensive rather than measuring the exact amount and taxing based off of that. The results of carbon tax have been strong thus far, reducing emissions 5 to 15%, which is a pretty good amount. While these countries seem to have a good system, I believe putting carbon monitors on businesses will result in even more reduction if they are taxed for every bit of carbon they produce. So how is the funding for this going to work? In the United States, to charge a carbon tax, funding would be needed for the carbon measurement units put on the businesses, the enforcing of the carbon tax, and the proper use of the units, and the installation of the units. The initial cost would be pooled from tax dollars, but it would very quickly repay for itself once the tax came into fruition and businesses started paying. The impact. So some pros of this: it would reduce carbon emissions, it encourages the use of cleaner alternative energy, it makes the government money to put back into climate change acts, and the cons are: it could raise energy prices, which could negatively affect small businesses and low-income households. It could be hard to enforce and measure carbon levels from each individual business. It could turn into another political issue in our country. So tied to a more perfect union, if the carbon tax was implemented in the United States, it would make for a more perfect union in several ways. Firstly, it would be treating our Earth how it should be, preserving it for future generations to come. Secondly, a carbon tax would reduce emissions, which in some areas cause health issues. For example, around Elon Musk's new AI data center in Memphis, Tennessee, there are many civilians in this low-income neighborhood where they put the data center that are having trouble breathing from all these diesel generators Elon Musk has put in there, which he actually only has the permits for half of the ones he's put in there, so it's illegal for him, but they have not seemed to do anything about that. And lastly, it would make our union more perfect by encouraging everybody to be eco-friendly, which can create a sense of confidence and unison between citizens. And lastly, here are my references in APA format. Awesome. Thank you very much.